Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It's been a while since I've talked to you turds. I got a handful of stories for you today, and I apologize if I sound a little sick. I just got over being sick, but, the show must go on. And without further ado, I'm not gonna waste any time. Y'all are used to me just jumping right in, so let's jump the hell right in. Let's go. Am I the asshole for sending my wife an anonymous STD notification? Oh, okay. Starting off strong. I, 32 male, have been married to my wife, Maria, 30 female, for 12 years. We married young. Had ups and downs, but never anything like this. About a year ago, she volunteered for a 6-month military adjacent development. When she came back, she began acting different, including new clothes, hair, expensive nails. I knew it was a very traumatic experience, so I figured it was just her processing the intense assignment. Then I noticed a guy, let's call him Alex, hearting every one of her social media posts. Rookie mistake. I didn't know him, which was unusual, since we know everyone in each other's circles. She said they met on deployment, and that I should let it go. Fast forward to about 2 months ago, when her team planned a reunion picnic. She got weird about who'd be there and where it was. On the day, she got dolled up, and I overheard her telling a friend how cute someone was. She left at 11 a.m. and never checked in. By 9 p.m., I used Find My to see she was at an Italian restaurant downtown, which was an odd spot for a picnic. So I did what any self-respecting human would do. I drove to the restaurant. She was there with Alex. After that, all the alarm bells were going off. I didn't confront her. Instead, I called my brother, who told me about the ability to send anonymous STD notifications. I took a few days to figure out my next move. A few days later, I sent her one. She received a notification saying, "A partner tested positive for an STD and recommends that you also get tested." She didn't say a word to me. She didn't say anything all day. Turns out she sent Alex a disappearing iMessage asking if he'd given her an STD. That was all I needed. I quietly got my affairs in order and told her I was moving out and filing for divorce. She still swears she never cheated. I'll never tell her how I know. Note: key elements of the story were slightly altered for family privacy. So this says update, but it's for clarification before we say our P's and Q's. Most importantly, when I said disappearing text, I was referring to the invisible ink message. Sorry if this story comes off as fake. I've felt incredibly guilty about it for a while now and feel like I can't share it with family and friends. I just needed to get it out. This is a checkmate. I love this. I would never tell her how I know. I would be petty and I would just say shit like, well, I really like Italian food this time of year. So I'm going to assume by this clarification that people are like, how do you see something that disappears? As in the text. Well, the disappearing ink, you just have to click on it and you'll see it. It's not like the text just disappears, like I guess most people are assuming, which rightfully so. Moral of the story, your wife's a fucking whore. It's kind of crazy that she's sitting here saying, I never slept with him. Something that I think people forget is when you have a phone bill together, you can go to your provider and you can get all of the texts exchanged between people. You can get how many times a number has called, or vice versa, you've called out. You can get every single piece of information from your provider. I know people are like, oh, well, I deleted it. It doesn't matter. This has been a thing with cell phones since the dawn of time. The second you send anything or you put anything online, Even if you decide to delete it, it's there forever. It's kind of insane that people act like, oh, I can just delete it. No, bitch, it's there forever. And the company can't just read it. Of course, you have to ask for it. And I think there's paperwork involved, but it's your account. So this is really stupid on her end, or she's just naive or ignorant and does not know that you can do this because you don't. You're just an idiot. She's an idiot. And they obviously had sex because, where'd I get my STD? And you know what's, this whole thing, okay, is so fucked up because your wife did not go to you. Your wife sat there and denied the claims, knowing she might potentially have an STD. And she's totally, as long as her lie doesn't get exposed, she's totally okay with giving you an STD. This bitch is for the streets. Fuck this bitch. Nope. No. That alone, you gotta go. You gotta go. Commentary. Yeah, exactly. Those disappearing texts make it tough to have solid. Okay, so everybody on here is doing exactly what we assumed. Talking about the disappearing text. So let's read some shit. Commenter. Yeah, exactly. Those disappearing texts make it tough to have a solid proof. Even if something shady went down, it's basically their word against yours. Commenter, he wasn't looking for courtroom proof. He was looking for confirmation for his own mind. If you know that your wife got an STD email like that and she texts anyone other than you, what the text says or proves is not really the point. Yeah. Commenter, probably meant the okay, yeah, so somebody clarified in here, it is the invisible ink text. You can go back and see it at any time. It's just not right up there in the open for wondering eyes to see that are nosy like me and will look at your phone. Commenter, if they're messaging on Instagram, if he looks at her message with the other person on the thread, it will say disappearing messages have been turned on and off, like this. Okay, people are really stupid. I'm going to be honest. Everybody's like, how do you know she sent a disappearing message? Nobody knows how phones work, so we have a lot of that here. Okay, maybe this is a useful comment, you guys. Commenter. Everyone keeps commenting this. My coworkers send me disappearing messages all the time to talk shit on a specific manager. All it is a covered iMessage. So I see someone sent me a text, but it doesn't pop up on my lock screen. I click on the notification, it's still covered. I have to manually uncover it and it lets me read it for a few seconds before covering itself again. And I have to click on it again if I need to read it more. Not sure what's confusing. This has been a feature for a while. Well, people do not care. People do not know what their phone is capable of. Commenter, I'll take things that never happened for 2000. Alex. Commenter, wait, the same Alex who gave her an STD? Commenter, sounds like something Alex would say. That's funny. There is a lot of people in here saying it's fake. I really do not understand how this seems fake to you guys. Maybe I don't have a good fake radar. Maybe you guys can tell me in the comments, but I don't see this as fake at all. Whatever. Who cares? I don't think this is fake. Let's keep it moving. Am I overreacting for wanting to end my marriage after what my husband did during our break? I, 25 female, and my husband, 27 male, have been married for 2 years, together for 5. We married young, but we were both ready, emotionally and financially. We both wanted a big family. I got pregnant last year, and about 6 months ago, I had a stillbirth at 5 months. It happened after a fall. My husband slipped on the stairs, fell on me, and we both tumbled down. It was a freak accident. I don't blame him, but I was struggling not to at this point. And I had to be rushed to the hospital, and we lost the baby. The physical recovery was painful, and emotionally, I was a mess. I was grieving, traumatized, and mentally not okay. I asked for space. I told him I wanted to stay with my parents for a while to heal and process everything. I started therapy and encouraged him to do the same. I was gone for about 2.5 months, trying to recover emotionally, physically, and mentally. Eventually, I moved back in. We resumed therapy together. Things were still heavy, but I thought we were trying to move forward. That's when he told me very guiltily that while I was away, he was hooking up with another woman because we were on a break. You were not on a break. Actually, you were not on a fucking break. I was shocked, hurt, numb. We are married. We weren't on a break. Like in some high school relationship. I went to stay with my parents to grieve our child, not to take a break from the relationship. I never once implied it was okay to sleep with other people. He never asked or clarified. He just decided that's what our space meant. I already hate this dude. Ugh. God. To make it worse, he waited 1.5 months after I came back to confess. That tells me he knew exactly what he was doing. He hid it. He lied by omission for weeks. Yeah, and the excuse, we were on a break, is just him coping with being a piece of shit. I left immediately. Booked a hotel for like 3 days, cut everyone off. I didn't want to talk to my parents or friends because I knew they'd try to convince me to forgive him. Right now, I'm staying with my brother for like 2 weeks. I've even stopped therapy. Everything feels pointless for now. He's been apologizing nonstop, saying we can fix this. We can keep going to counseling. We can rebuild. He's even involved both our parents. Now, everyone, his parents, my parents, saying I should give him a chance, that he was grieving in his own way, that it wasn't cheating because we were apart. Fuck everybody in this story but OP. You know what? This story is gonna pee me off. But I can't look at it that way. I feel betrayed. I think he made a choice, and I don't feel any desire to fight for this marriage anymore. Everyone except my brother is making me feel like I am overreacting. The divorce is too far-fetched. Okay, before we read that edit, I have to say something. Because we hear this bullshit time and time again. When somebody is grieving, whether it be their child, a friend, a family member, whatever, they always go and have sex with somebody else that's not the person they're in a relationship with. And then they always use this excuse, this bullshit excuse. And it's starting to look at this edit like OP is falling for this bullshit. I haven't read it yet, you guys, but I'm almost sure that OP is sitting there now convincing herself that he should be allowed to insert another woman while she's grieving the death of her child. I do not care how you are feeling. I do not care if you are sitting there. I don't care what kind of bullshit excuse you want to muster up in your brain to make you feel okay with this. Your coping mechanism was trash and a terrible choice. And sorry, maybe looking at this with a glass half full, this was a blessing because you showed your true colors, and obviously we can't have a proper relationship now. Now you don't have to be locked to this person for 18 years while you raise a child together. That is a shitty thing to say. It's a little callous, okay? It's a little mean. It's a little sour. Sour grape. I don't care. There's never excuse. I'm sorry, but no. I'm not even sorry. You guys both lost a child in this. Why you guys separated, I get it, because kind of blaming him. And of course he feels guilty and he, whatever reason, wanted to put his guilt in another woman's vagina. Okay, there's no excuses for this. One, we did not agree to this. And I told you, I'm just going to grieve. Just imagine, this is the way he grieves. Who's to say he's not gonna do this again if something else tragic happens in his life? His parents have to die. Your parents have to die. If you guys have another kid, you guys are gonna have trials and tribulations with that. This is disgusting behavior. There is no excuse for this, and he is gonna gaslight you to the fucking moon. Oh, well, we were on a break. You don't have breaks in marriage, my guy. okay? You're either separated or you're not. No, this is disgusting. This is absolutely disgusting. And I'm sure he was sitting here looking up all these forums and like shit on Reddit like, "Oh, well, let me just look at these threads and make it okay to do this because I'm going to convince myself that we were on a break." And I bet you he made some fucking stupid post. Oh god, this fucking pisses me off. Let's read her edit before we go to the comments. Edit. Honestly, I'm just now realizing he may have felt abandoned and I did a poor job there. Shut the OP. If I could just punch you through the screen. Thanks for pointing that out. We were still in contact. He never said it or in counseling. But again, maybe he felt like he can't do that. I can't read his mind though. I was away from him too, but we both had our families there for us. So I never thought of it as abandoning him. I was still there for him. Still, I feel like things would have only gotten worse if I hadn't taken that time. And I don't think I'd change that. This does help me forgive him, not stay, and move on if I don't think of him as some sort of monster for doing this. Agreed. Thank you, OP, for not staying. This dude's a piece of fucking shit. Okay. Let's read this one because holy shit. Okay, so this is the most upvoted and it's like as long as the story, so buckle up, you guys. Commenter. No one's overreacting. For everyone who is not really comprehending the extent of this, let me explain. OP did not have a miscarriage. OP had a stillborn child. I lost our baby at 24 weeks, about 4 weeks after she did. She gave birth. It's hard enough on anyone who's had a miscarriage will tell you. You know, your body is betraying you. That's how it feels. But you are not going into active labor and pushing a child out that is dead. And that's what happens at 5 and 6 months. So it really messes with you because your body just knows it gave birth to a child. Your milk still comes out. You still deliver placenta. Your breasts are engorged. You're bleeding. You can't have sex because it's just the same as giving birth. 6 weeks. Every single thing about your body reminds you that you don't have a baby. Every single day. Putting on a bra is god awful and your clothes don't fit, including your bras half the time. Every single thing. There is literally nothing about your body and the hormones and the joint pains and the swelling and the baby abdomen and the engorged breast that does not remind you every goddamn day that you don't have a baby, even though you gave birth. It fucking sucks more than I can tell you. And then you compound all of that going on with knowing that your husband didn't mean to fall down on you on the stairs. And you're fighting yourself because logically you know this and you know that it was an accident. But you also know in that case, yeah, he did cause you to lose the child. It technically is his fault. And you have to have a bit of time to work around that in your brain because you know you love him. You know it was an accident. But your body reminds you every single fucking day that you don't have a baby anymore, which that reminds you of why you don't have a baby. When I lost our child, my husband was out of town. He was a firefighter. I literally had to call the aid car and have the paramedics come. And of course, guess what? Sure enough, I knew the paramedics. It fucks with your head. I knew it was my husband's fault because he had to be out of town. I didn't blame him, but then I had to deal with his parents who are incredibly emotional people anyways, and he wasn't going to be back immediately because he couldn't be. This shit messes with you, and instead of him stopping to deal with his own feelings of guilt, because I have no doubt he had feelings of guilt, unless he's some sort of sociopath. So instead of getting some therapy as she suggested, after explaining to him, she just needed a little space to work through things in her ad. He went and fucked somebody else because they were on a break. Bullshit. I'm sorry, he had a lot of shit going on in his head. I have no doubt he did because he also lost a child. But physically, no. He got up every day and put his fucking clothes on the same way he always did. He didn't have breasts that were leaking milk and sore that you can barely touch them. Often to the point where he's even putting a nightgown on caused so much pain. He wasn't bleeding every day for 6 weeks and being reminded that way that there's no baby. He didn't have hormones searching through his body. He had no physical repercussions, so she got a double whammy. No, she got a triple whammy. All the god-awful parts of having a baby with no baby to make it all worthwhile. No baby because her husband caused it. And mentally, all the normal stuff that comes with losing a child with the extra on top. You know what he had? Trauma from knowing he caused this. Trauma from knowing his wife was struggling. You know what she did? Asked for a little bit of space because she wanted to not go through her marriage blaming her husband. Because she knew he had some need for care which her parents could give her. And she went to therapy. Also, she could come back and be with her husband and try to move forward together. You know what he did? He didn't do shit. He went and fucked around on her. And this is not high school, like she said. This was not we're having problems in our relationship, so we need to take a break. This was we just went through serious trauma that technically you caused. So we both need a little time and space without feeling like we each failed the other somehow. So let's just take a little time apart so we can each work through our own traumas. So then we can come back together and figure out how to move forward. So now I would kick his ass out and I would tell anyone else telling me the opposite to fuck right off. Not to mention that he lied to you by omission. I can pretty much well guarantee he didn't go screw some other woman because he told her, my wife was 5 months pregnant. I'm married, but she's at her parents because I fell down the stairs, knocked her down the stairs, and she lost the baby and had a stillbirth. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the conversation didn't happen because somehow most women are not gonna go, that's great, let's go to bed. So I'm sorry, there are adult ways to deal with trauma, with feeling abandoned. Although he had no right to feel that way, I can understand why he might have. But given the circumstances, that's when an adult goes, I know why she needs some space. I'm feeling sort of left out, but I better go talk to somebody, or talk to my friends, or I'll talk to my own parents and try to walk through some of it, not go fuck someone. I don't think we need to read another comment because that is hands down 100% all you need to hear. It's true. It's kind of funny because when people go through things like this and trauma and feeling abandoned and blah, 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 they always go and run to somebody else and cheat. And I never understood this. I will never understand this. It kind of reminds me of how when you break up with somebody, right? The more mature and adult one in the relationship, the one that was more kind of locked in the relationship, seems to coast a little bit and get over them and get back to regular life and be this normal human being on their own. And then the one that's kind of like doesn't know how to deal with their issues and just can't be alone and, you know, like this, feels abandoned, but blah, 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 blah. They go and fuck somebody that same day they break up. Or 2 weeks from then. You know what I mean? They're immediately on dating apps and, you know, it's the same kind of characteristics. A piece of shit. You don't want to be with them. Anyways, let's go. What's the grossest thing someone has openly told you that they do regularly? This is probably more unhinged on my behalf as opposed to gross. Maybe, I guess it depends. If you think blood is gross, not menstrual blood, to clarify, just blood in general, then this is the comment for you. Long winded, but here we go. Oh, we love a long story here. We love it, we love it, we love it. We're here for it. Okay, so I, currently a 33-year-old woman, come from a lower middle class family out of Northeast Louisiana. My entire family, since probably the dawn of goddamn time, has always firmly believed we do not waste food. Period. I mean, you get fucked up around my household for less, but food wasting? Yeah, just don't do it. My household consists of my mother, my sister, who is 13 months older than me, and my stepdad. It was during the school week. It was hot dogs with chili cheese night. Mom asked me to cook. I was like, sure thing. So there I was, popped hot dogs in the water, using can opener to open chili cans, using grater on a block of cheese, so on, so forth, typical shit. Now I know we all have dealt with the chili being suctioned to the inside of the can. You generally, in most cases, need a spoon to break the suction for all of it to come out. Here is where it gets fun. So I take said spoon, but instead of holding the spoon like a non-jackass teenager by the handle, pause, I feel the need to take a moment to state outright and explicitly, yes, I am unhinged. Fact. And I am a smidge deranged. Also facts. But with that being said, my pointer finger on the goddamn spoon was moments prior to starting dinner. properly cleaned. Rinsed, soaped, lathered, rinsed again, then dried. On guess what? A clean hand towel. I mean, goddamn Reddit. Wash y'all's fucking hands. Unpause. I placed my pointer finger up to the fat part of the spoon on the back side close to the edge, commenced to scooping in a motion that would follow the round lining of the can. Mind you, I was holding the can over the pot that contained the other cans I already opened and had heating up. In this final can's openings process, I sliced my finger open to the fucking bone, pouring like a fountain straight into the pot. I immediately moved my hand, ran to the sink, handled that situation, turned back to the pot, had some internal dialogue. I was like, man, my mom will fuck me up if I throw this whole pot of chili away. So naturally, I did what was best. Stirred that shit in. Oh my god. Served it to my family. I ate some too. It was pretty good. Told my mom some years later. She initially looked utterly mortified, then busted out laughing, which, I mean, come on, what did you expect? I literally came from her. Where the fuck you think I got the sickness within from? Believe it or don't, Reddit, this is a 7 strangers, 1 house true story event in my life. Yes, that was a The Real World from MTV joke. Deal with it or don't. Oh my god. Okay. Disgusting. To be quite frank. I'm stupid. I'm stupid, you guys. I'm sorry. I probably wouldn't care if this was my sister or my boyfriend or my mom. But yeah, I kind of would care at the same time. This is disgusting because if any of them were to cut their finger, I wouldn't sit there and suck the blood off. It's quite disgusting. But here's the thing. This is how I'm going to cope with this if this were have been a situation of mine. We eat the blood of lots of animals. We don't even know where these animals have been. We don't know a lot about them. And how hot are you cooking this chili? Are you going to let it simmer for a few hours so it really gets all the bacteria out? If there is any bacteria. Or are we just like, as soon as that blood went in, you stirred it and served it? There's some real questions here. But it is disgusting. But we eat animal blood every day. Those who eat animal byproducts. So, I don't know. But there's no comments on this, so I have nothing to read to you. Am I the asshole? I called my sis shady for trying to sell a television that was still mounted to my wall on Marketplace. My 30 female, sister 28 female, lived with me in my current house over 2 years ago. Since she has moved out, she left behind some belongings. One of them was a 40-inch smart TV that she left mounted to the wall of her old bedroom, which is now my downstairs living room. Me and my partner, as well as her son, my nephew 4, use it daily. She has mentioned the TV a few times over the years, but never really stressed it. Lately, my sister has come into some big financial issues and needs help. My boyfriend and I help as much as we can. It's important to note that nobody else in our family will help my sister with money anymore due to her not paying back small debts. Therefore, I am really the only person who gives her any financial support. Most recently, I bought her an iPhone on Marketplace for $200 because hers was broken. I have not asked her to pay me back for this. Also, my boyfriend and I constantly buy her groceries and give her food. We buy but will not eat. Additionally, we buy her son special items whenever he comes over for a sleepover. So the incident happened 2 nights ago. My sister came over during the day to grab some gas money from my cash stash so she could take her kids to the water park. Absolutely. Come get it. While in my house, she took the liberty to take a photo of the TV she left behind and post it to Facebook Marketplace for $100. I was not aware of this. At 7 p.m. that night, I get a text from her saying that 2 strangers will be at my house shortly to take the TV and ask me to collect the $100 for her. Mind you, my partner and I were actively watching a movie on that TV. I was livid. I called her and gave her a piece of my mind. Called her shady. Said she was disrespectful and delusional if she thought that behavior was acceptable or normal in any way. I said it was bonkers for her to believe she could just do that without talking to me. She doubled down and reminded me it was her TV and I didn't have a say. She even went as far as to say I clearly couldn't care less about my nephews and that I was more concerned about my own convenience. Eventually, after some back and forth, I had my boyfriend send her $85 and told her we would be keeping the TV. She hasn't spoken with me since, so I'm wondering, am I the asshole? Huh! Don't read that update, you saw, bitch. I saw you trying to read it. Okay, so let me get this straight. You buy this woman a phone, a $200 phone. You pay for her groceries. You just gave her money to go to a water park with her children, etc., etc., etc. At this point, the TV is mine. Okay, people who do this this bullshit where it's like a give and take. Oh, well, I bought you this, and I bought you. If you buy me something or do something for me and you hold it over my head, save it. Don't do it for me. Because you're doing it so that I will reciprocate and do shit for you. When I do things out of the kindness of my heart and because I want to. I don't do it with the expectation that you will give me it back. That is not the way you treat people. This woman is a selfish person. She probably sees everything you do for her as a must. It's not like this is so greedy. She's like, oh, free money. Oh, free groceries. Oh, a free phone. Not realizing that somebody had to pay for it. It's not actually free. Okay? And this shit makes me so mad. I hate people like this. I have a family member that's like this, and they think they are just entitled to everything. They make me so irritated because their parents were like this. Their parents got everything for free. They got cars, they got all this fucking bullshit, and they never once took care of the free shit they got. The cars, I don't even know what all they got. But this family member always sat there and said, I don't ever want to be like my parents. And she is a fucking carbon copy. Carbon copy. Through and through. Thinks everything should be free to her and everybody should just give her free rent and blah, 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 blah. And then you ask her to do something for you? Oh, no. That's out of the question. That's out of the fucking question. And this is the same bullshit. If you were to ask your sister to give you the same courtesy, as in, hey, give me the fucking TV. She's like, she would have been like, well, you're going to give me $100 for it? I understand. Money is tight, but it is tight for everybody, okay? It is tight for everyone. So, you being like this, I would never help you. I wouldn't give you a another dollar. I wouldn't give you a single dollar more. I wouldn't give you a penny. Nope. Well, this gravy train has come to a complete halt. I'm glad $100 was worth it. And you still gave her $85 for it. She's like, oh, well, that little extra cash I was going to get from these strangers. Not the asshole. Head on. Okay, so we're going to read the comments before we go to the update. Okay. Commenter, do not be a doormat. Sis will never get her act together while she can mooch off of you and your boyfriend. Does she work? Oh, I missed that word. I forgot that existed. Mooch, la mooch. OP responded, no job, used to work, and have amazing work ethic. Dating a loser who constantly loses jobs, who I have begged her to leave for years now. She has 2 other kids under 2 with him. How do people not have a job in today's climate? I would work at Walmart. Commenter, quit supporting her useless ass. Just let her know that the TV situation was the last straw, and going forward, she gets absolutely no help from you. Your sister is a moocher and a bum, and doesn't care about you and your family, so why waste time worrying about her? I agree. Commenter, your sister is a drug addict, FYI. OP responded, addict, yes, but not all addicts are to drugs. I think gambling is the silent killer. Commenter, you are giving her gambling money? Even if she says it's for food or gas, every dollar you give her is for gambling because it's money she doesn't need to use to live. Stop. Okay. I don't know if I would go as far as an addict. She doesn't have a job. My girl doesn't have a job. I'd be out of money in 5 minutes. All right, update. Thanks for all your input and feedback about the situation. Everyone has helped put this into perspective for me. I might not have been the asshole in this situation, but I am certainly not doing myself or my sister any favors by continuing to allow her to use me. I will be working on my enabling behaviors. For anyone who likes drama, she came by my house today, and we had the worst fight of our relationship. It will be rocky at best moving forward. She was not willing to accept my criticism and stays firm that I am just a cold, evil person. And I called her awful things for trying to sell her TV. I mean, she absolutely saw no fault in what she did and how she did it. I'm done trying to convince her otherwise. My heart hurts not for her and I, but at the idea I may see less of my nephews. I will stay strong and be better at setting healthy boundaries moving forward. Thank you. I don't think you have to worry about her piecing out for too long. She's gonna need money, and she's gonna be hitting you up soon. I promise. Am I the asshole for giving my husband an ultimatum because he won't stop bringing up the past? I, 27 female, have been married to my husband, 30 male, for 4 years. We met when I was 20 and he was 23. At the time we met, I had just gotten out of a 2 year relationship. We met through some mutual friends, and we started off as friends, but as time went on, we began to date. We got married when I was 23 and he was 26. During the time we dated, me and my husband were very open with each other about our past and our exes. My husband happened to be a virgin before we met, and I had slept with my ex boyfriend before I met him. Keep in mind, he was the second relationship I had in my whole life, and my ex was my first everything. At first, when I told my husband about my ex, he was a bit taken aback that we wouldn't be each other's first, but I reassured him and told him the past was the last, and he was the one I love and want to spend the rest of my life with. So, fast forward to our life now. Our intimate life has begun slacking lately. Every time I would try to initiate anything, he would turn me down and say he was tired. At first, I didn't think anything of it, but it became a constant excuse no matter the time, and 3 months passed with no intimacy. So I sat my husband down and asked him what was wrong and why he didn't want to get intimate. And he said every time he looks at me, he can't help but think that someone else has had me in such an intimate way. Oh, God, this is going to turn into an open relationship. Again, I reassured him and told him the past was the past, and I'm sorry he felt that way, but there's nothing I can do. And it's him I want. From that day on, he would make snide and little comments whenever we would have a conversation. For example, if we ever talked about anything sexual, he would say, imagine not being a virgin and getting married, and I'm sure no one else would have put up with the fact that you weren't a virgin. So only I can love you and not look at you like a dirty slut. Somebody has been listening to Andrew Tate. I was taken aback when he said that, and I just went into our room and locked the door. After that whole thing, I sat my husband down and told him if he wasn't happy in our marriage, he could leave. But he blew up on me saying that it was my fault it came to this, and we should have grown together physically and intimately. But because I went and gave my body to someone else, he just can't look past that. I took my rough and went to stay with my sister. Now, I don't know what to do. I'm going to tell you exactly what's happening right now. He wants to have sex with somebody else. That's what he wants. He wants to even the playing fields, and I'm sure he's been looking at shit he shouldn't have. He's been reading shit he shouldn't be reading, and he has been listening to podcasts he shouldn't be listening to. Because, all these alpha male idiots, they sit here and they're like, oh, well, you need a virgin. You need somebody who's submissive. You need. It is close to impossible unless you are in like the Mormon church to find a virgin woman. Let's just rip that band aid off, okay? It is very rare. Very, very rare. Unless they are super religious. Or that's just what they chose. Because, I have a friend who waited until she was married. And she was 20, I think she was like 27. But that doesn't happen. That is the first woman in history of meeting women that I have ever met a virgin woman in my life. Of course, when I was a kid. Get real, you guys. I'm talking about in my adult life. This was a pipe dream from the beginning. I understand you guys met as kids. Come on, bro. I know we've all seen this kind of story, and usually the conversation comes up. Well, we need to even the playing field, and I need to go bump uglies with somebody else so you know how I feel. This is not healthy, and I would not stay in this. I'm not dealing with this. Get over it. This was years ago. Get over it, you man child. Are you kidding me? You can't get past this? Oh Lord. Don't get on the internet, guy. Don't get on the internet. You would have a heart attack. There's women having sex with thousands of men, which that's not okay either, you guys. Okay, that's quite disgusting. And I feel bad for whatever's going on mentally with you women that are having sex with this many men. But most women are not virgins, okay? So, bro. Let's read some comments. Commenter. After years into the relationship and marriage, I think he's just manipulating you. That's what I was thinking too. The next thing he'd be telling you he cheated. But was it your fault for not being pure? You emasculated him. Yada yada. Don't fall for that. Ding ding ding. I think we found a winner. Commenter. Yeah, I've seen a couple posts on here up that alley. One partner was too experienced, so the less experienced one used that as an excuse to cheat. God, when I know, you guys. It's like I read Reddits for a part-time job, you guys. Who would have thunk? Who would have thunk? Who'd have freaking thunk? I'm just kidding, you guys. I'm kind of an idiot, but thank you for staying with me through this journey. Commenter, I had an ex use the excuse that he was just intimidated by how much more experienced I was than him, and that's why he never wanted to have sex. I found out years later that he had just been cheating on me during that time, and that was the real reason. Oh, God. Okay, let's read this edit. Edit. Hey, guys. Hi, OP. I see all your comments, and I appreciate every single one of you. I cannot reply to everybody, but just know I will take your advice and make plans to leave him. Claps all around. And again, he said that he has these thoughts all throughout our marriage, but it's just really starting to become a problem recently. Andrew Tate, probably. This reminds me of something that happened back in the day when I had roommates. I had this one girl roommate, and this one girl, she was dating this guy. Oh, he was a piece of work, I'll tell you what. And I had this extra phone. It was like a broken phone in case, the one I was using ever broke. It was like broken enough where I could just pop my SIM card in and use it if something happened. Anyways, I had it in my drawer. And one day I get this hair. Oh, let me just, I was looking for a picture. I can't remember exactly the context of why I was doing this, but I know I needed something off this phone. So, I open my drawer, I pull out the phone. It's turned off, so it's not dead. I open it up. Bro. I'm not even kidding. And I was friends with this guy. Okay. It's not like we were like buddy, but we were friends, okay? And you guys, the pictures on this fucking phone made me want to throw up projectile all over my house. I'm going through them. There's gotta be 50 fucking pictures. I don't even know how I don't even know why he knew my phone was in there, but he did. And I'm swiping, dude. I'm swiping and swiping. Turns out, because, I confronted the dude. Hey, what the fuck? There was pictures of him fucking a prostitute on my phone. It was like pictures leading up to it. I swear to God, y'all can believe me or not. It was pictures of her being all like cute and shit on my beanbag. Okay. And this was a big beanbag. It was a beanbag that turned into a bed. She's on my beanbag, looking all disgusting with her fucking, oh God. It was so gross. I can still see it. And then pictures of them having sex in my room. Like POV shots. And I'm like, the craziest shit I've ever seen. But of course I told my roommate, you guys. You guys watch my shit. I do not like cheaters. I told my roommate. I showed my roommate. She stayed with him. She stayed with him because she's an idiot. And yeah, they're not together anymore, but I was like, you're a fucking idiot. You have like solid proof that he just had sex with a prostitute. He even told me it's a prostitute. And you're like, "Oh, bitches are stupid." I was like, girl, have some respect for yourself, because that's wild. Am I the asshole for telling my friend that it's too soon to date another person after his wife died from breast cancer? To set the timeline, we found out 8 years ago that our couple besties, 55 male and 50 female, had stage 4 breast cancer. There are 3 couples in the group, and we are really close. For privacy's sake, I'll name them Joe and Mary. Their daughter was only 5 at the time. Mary was diagnosed, and Mary beat the odds for a long time. However, cancer is a thief, and we lost her this past January. Their daughter Sarah is besties with our daughter, so we have been right there with her to help heal, remember, and love up on her. Mary asked for a small intimate service this spring to spread her ashes and celebrate her life. Joe refuses to do anything or even talk about Mary. He claims that bringing it up keeps tearing off the band-aid and Sarah can't heal. Of course, I don't agree. I feel that we should talk about Mary and celebrate her life all the time so that Mary knows she is not forgotten. Joe didn't recognize Mary's birthday in May, and 2 months ago, Joe brought a female friend around at our daughter's B-Day party, and as you can imagine, his now 12-year-old lost it. The last several weekends, Joe has let the daughter stay home while he brings his new girlfriend to our couples events. Then this last weekend, he ditched his daughter on her birthday so he could spend the weekend with his new girlfriend. Excuse me? Okay. He only spent 1.5 hours with Sarah on the day before her 13th and stayed with his new girlfriend the whole weekend, totally ignoring Sarah. So I lost my shit and gave him a piece of my mind and told them that he is one of the most self-centered pieces of shit that I have ever seen, and can't believe that he would ignore his 13-year-old daughter on her birthday weekend so he could spend the whole weekend with his new girlfriend. So am I too close to this? Am I seeing it wrong? Does he have the right to move on so quickly? Or is he the asshole for bringing the new girl around and expecting his daughter to get on board with it? And as his friend should, we call him out on it or let it go. Okay. Okay. I have personal experience with this. I was a little older, a little more seasoned. I was 16 years old. But right after my father had passed, 3 months to be precise, my mother brought home a man, and she had me take care of him because he was hurt and he had nobody to take care of him. This is no shit on my mom. I love my mom to death, and this was her way of coping with my father's death. Now, I know at the time I was like, Mom, it has been 3 mother effing months. What are you doing? But my expression towards her, and me being the person that I am, I let it go. I was like, okay, she lost her husband. She knows her kids lost their dad. This is her way of coping. Whether I agree with it or not, I have to deal with it. Now, I believe my mom did not give herself time to grieve. But, and this may be too personal, Mom, if you're listening, I'm sorry. I know you watch my shit. But I knew this was her way of getting over my father. Whether she still is holding on to the grief or not, I did not get mad with her about this. I didn't let other people get mad about the way that she was coping with this because this is how she dealt with it. My father was dead, her husband was dead, she's been with him for decades, and here we are. Who the fuck am I to say how she is supposed to cope? And I know we just did some bullshit about a baby, okay? This is not the same thing. It's not cheating, okay? This is a woman who lost her husband, and this is a man who lost his wife, and it was a slow process. You know it was coming. This was an inevitable death. It was going to happen sooner than it was supposed to. And everybody knows. And my dad, it was the same situation. So you're preparing yourself for them potentially leaving you sooner than they should. So the actual death is a lot different than if you just tragically gone. Tragic still, but it's not a sudden death, okay? I think you are 100% out of fucking bounds. I think you are exaggerating on the birthday weekend. Sounds like they all spent the whole weekend together, and he was paying a little bit of attention to his girlfriend, as you do to a girlfriend, and he was still around his daughter for her birthday. I don't like the way this is worded. It sounds like you're kind of trying to spin it in your favor. I understand people not understanding the circumstances here and being like, how the fuck? It's been 3 months. I personally, I would never date again. That's just me. But people are lonely. Some people need somebody. And who the fuck are you to say when they should start looking or if they shouldn't look? Everybody is their own person. I'm sorry, Karen, that he didn't do it in your timely manner. He didn't wait a year. Shut the fuck up. You know, I didn't even cry over my father until a year after he passed. Everybody copes with things in a different way. And I think, although this seems fucked up from an outside perspective, Karen, have you ever lost your husband or wife? Have you ever lost a kid? Shut the fuck up. Shut up. It's not like he was actively cheating on his wife. This is how you're making it seem. And you know what? One day, this daughter, if the girlfriend doesn't absolutely blow chunks, okay, she's going to love her for stepping in when the mother died. A step parent shouldn't be shit on like this because eventually it seems like, yes, he probably shouldn't have introduced the kid yet. But you know what? You're not the kid's dad. Butt the fuck out, bitch. Butt out. This is not your family. It's not like he's abusing the kid. Okay? Back up. Yes, you are the asshole and you are out of bounds, woman. Out of bounds. Let's see how wrong I am, you guys. Commenter, so he has a right to move on as quickly or as slowly as he wants. That's his prerogative. However, he doesn't have the right to ignore and neglect his daughter in order to move on. He's hurting her more in her time of need, and that's not okay. Speaking up for her is a good thing. I think she needs to be able to tell him how he's making her feel without his new woman around. I think he's still grieving, and that's why he's saying not to talk to her about it or bring her up and playing around with a girlfriend so quickly. Maybe I listened to this differently because I was reading it, but it sounded like she kind of contradicted herself by saying he only spent 1.5 hours with his daughter and then spent the whole weekend ignoring his daughter, but his daughter was around? I'm sure you guys are going to tell me in the comments, or I'm going to hear it while I'm editing. And I'm like, damn, am I stupid? How did I miss that? Or I'm be like, yeah, you're all stupid. I don't know what this, I don't know what the conclusion's gonna be, you guys. Okay. Don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at me. Commenter, everything you said was spot on, but I would also add, if girlfriend is aware of everything, example, it was Sarah's birthday, then I see it's a massive red flag that the girlfriend is allowing this because this means everything is going to get worse if they become even more serious. Sarah may well make her own Reddit post in the future of, am I the asshole for going no contact with my dad because ever since he got his new wife, he has neglected me. Okay. I think he is probably very distraught about losing his wife, and he's trying to replace her immediately for the kid and for his sanity. Because a lot of people do this, and a lot of people get in this uproar. Oh my God, he's replacing her immediately. Was he cheating on her the whole time? Oh my God, he's neglecting his kid. It sounds like you worded it in a way that he is neglecting his kid, but it also sounds like the kid, they were all together. He just wasn't up the daughter's ass on her birthday. Okay, I really hope I read that wrong, and I'm just fucking way off base with my commentary. I really do, you guys. Commenter. Excerpt from story. I think he's still grieving, and that's why he's saying not to talk about her or bring her up and playing around with the girlfriend so quickly. Commenter's response to that. Or maybe he's been cheating on his late wife and here we go. What the fuck did I just say, you guys? What? Or maybe he's been cheating on his late wife and doesn't want her brought up so his side piece doesn't realize he's a disgusting piece of shit and run off. Happens all the time. Given the fact that Mary died this year and he's already got a new piece of ass, I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if they were having a full-blown affair. If it hasn't even been a year and he's already bringing his new lady to friend group hangouts. And there's another thing saying, oh, he's probably cheating, he's probably this. Okay, no. Nope. Because, no. He could have been. Don't get me wrong. He could have been cheating. But I will say, I did not want to hear about my father when he passed. I did not want my mom to talk. I didn't want anybody to talk about him. That's just the way it is. I don't want to hear about it because I don't want to think about my dead dad, okay? It's not something I want to do. I don't care if we're thinking positive. I don't want to fucking hear about it, okay? Maybe it's a little different because I found him dead. Maybe it is a little different. But I think you're all off base. And I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, you haven't experienced it, you can't talk about it. I would never say that. But all of you are inexperienced in this and you don't fucking know. Everybody grieves. And everybody grieves. Everybody has their way of coping and disassociating themselves with things that happen that may be traumatic to them. Okay? There's no rhyme or reason for certain things. And sometimes people might just meet at the perfect fucking time. Or they might have met beforehand. They may have known each other beforehand. And maybe, just maybe, after the wife had passed, he approached her. Was like, maybe I can keep my mind busy while I'm grieving. Because I'll be honest, my mom was with that guy for 10 years after. They stayed together for a really long time. And he was very receptive and respectful of my father. He let my mom wear a necklace that was his charm. I don't even know how to put this into words. I'm going to be honest because I think you're all fucking wrong. The only thing I have a problem with is if he actually did ignore his daughter. I have a problem with that. Because yes, you're all uncomfortable because you're like, this isn't the bitch we're used to coming around. Who the fuck is this new bitch? Okay, high school bully, get a grip. Okay, a new friend's in town. Okay. I know it seems sudden. Shut the fuck up, dude. Commenter. My dad did this. He was so devastated and couldn't talk about my mom. He was newly sober. He was widowed suddenly with 3 kids. To cope, he brought a woman with 2 kids home. They dated before he and my mom got married. Sister moved out. Brother joined the military. I was left with this new woman and her kids. She was super insecure and jealous too. I didn't know how to cope, so I just shut down. My mom just disappeared and no longer existed in my 12-year-old mind. I have realized that I have huge issues with relationships now. I have basically been in a state of disassociation since 1991. I don't remember my childhood. I don't really remember my past. I can't hold on to memories. I can't form attachments. Even with my husband and daughter or siblings, I hold everything at arm's length. I have no dreams, goals, hopes, or wishes. I basically exist day to day. Be there for the girl, help her, remember her mom with her, get her counseling. Oh my God, dude. Well, first off, woman, you are severely depressed. You need to go to therapy. 100%. Because you never coped with the loss of your mother. And I will say, I am a firm believer in therapy, but not for me. I will never go to therapy. Ever. Ever. And I would never advise anybody against it. But when I went, this bitch made me want to fucking body slam her. And it was right after my father died. And she didn't understand me. She was disgusting with everything she did. She made it worse. She 100% made me worse. She was just an old, judgmental bitch. She really was. And, you know, I had a sleeve at 16. So, to be fair, she was a little judgmental of me. I had piercings all on my face. I looked a hot fucking mess. But I had just lost my dad. So, have a little courtesy. Have a little, just give me a little leniency, please. Okay? I'm just saying, I would never do it because it was a nightmare for me. I literally would leave therapy more pissed than when I went in. I'm like, this bitch is fucking dumb. I could do her job for her. I will just cope by myself. We're not, no. And I'd tell my mom every time we went in, like, this is not helping me cope with dad. She's making me want to fucking knock her out. And we'd still continue to go back. I think it lasted like 6 months before I was like starting to get real mean with this fucking bitch. Because I got mean every time. Because I'm like, do you know how to do your fucking job, bitch? Do you? Because she would ask me the dumbest shit. Like, I hear these people talk about therapy, and I'm like, damn, I never got words of wisdom like that. You know what I mean? Anyways, I'm sorry. I'm getting a little TMI. Too much info for the folks over here on the YouTube. How do I explain to my 29 male girlfriend, 26 female, that I didn't cheat with her sister? 29 female. Oh god, this is gonna be stupid. So there's a complete misunderstanding on what happened last night, and my girlfriend is angry. I can understand why she's upset, but it's not what it looks like. You guys. Okay. So last night I went to a Juneteenth party, and my girlfriend was supposed to go with us, but she got sick. I was going to stay inside with her, but she insisted I go and have fun. So her sister and I went together, and it was supposed to be the three of us, but it turned out to just be her sister and I. So we go to the party, and there were moments where we were grinding, and she sat on my lap, but in a platonic manner. Boy, if you don't... Okay. My friend was apparently at this party, and she took video picture and sent it to my girlfriend, which is a gross violation of my privacy. Oh god. And I look at her friend differently now. Oh god. God forbid somebody record your bad behavior. Poor you. Either way, my girlfriend was heated. I tried to explain to my girlfriend that we didn't do anything. Even her friend told her she didn't see us do anything more than that. We didn't kiss or anything, but my girlfriend still finds it inappropriate. I tried to explain this won't happen again. If she finds it inappropriate, I respect her boundaries. I was more so looking at it from the perspective like when girls dance on each other. It doesn't mean anything because it's purely platonic. I was just looking at it in the same way because it's her sister. Ew, no, I would never do anything or cheat because I'm not that type of guy. The thought of being with her sister cheating makes me want to puke because cheating is disgraceful. Oh, my guy, come on. No, there is not a thought in my mind that I would ever sit on my sister's husband's lap for any reason whatsoever. There is one reason, and it's to fit into a vehicle when we are riding illegally, and that's about it. That is the only reason. That is the only excusable thing. And still, I probably want somebody else to do it. Just saying. I would not be caught dead sitting one of my, even of the same sex. No. There is a reason it was being recorded, and that means it was happening for a hot minute. It wasn't just a picture. Like, it was like they were recording. Be mad at yourself, fool. Be mad at yourself. This person taking this video had nothing to do with your girlfriend being mad. It's 100% your fault. You're just mad that she found out. And I would bet you guys are moving towards a little menage a trois. I'm just kidding. That's 3 people. I'm just being stupid. Commenter. There's no such thing as a platonic grinding. Agreed. Commenter. Sure there is. There is also platonic sex. At the end, you high five and say, no feelings. And you're good. Hell yeah. I agree. No cheatsies. Commenter. You were grinding with her sister and she was sitting in your lap platonically? Please update that your girlfriend dumps you. Excerpt from the story, which is a gross violation of my privacy, and I look at her friend differently. Gee, how dare her friend let her know you and her sister were all over each other physically? Right? Fucking loser. Commenter. Yeah, you crossed a boundary. You wouldn't grind with a random girl and call it platonic. Just because she is your sister of your girlfriend doesn't make the boundaries you share as a couple different. You can be affectionate with her sister in the way you be with yours. And don't tell me you and your sister would platonically grind. So yeah, it is kind of gross and on both your parts. Also, if her brother grinded on you, she wouldn't be mad. If you're a heterosexual person, then yes, any girl grinding can make her mad. It's basic boundaries. You may have not cheated technically, but you crossed a boundary. So you can't convince her you didn't. You can try to set these boundaries and expectations in more serious tone. That is, if she's willing to still move on. OP responded, I can see I crossed her boundaries and I'm deeply apologetic. But it's like my friend's girlfriend is bisexual and she will dance with her best friend. And it's okay because it's platonic. So I was just thinking, as long as it's platonic, it's okay. But I do take accountability. Okay. I hate when people do shit like this. Well, they're gay. Or, oh, they're bi. Nah. I would never grind on my gay friend. No. No, absolutely not. And if I'm in a relationship, we're not sleeping in the same bed either. Because I know people are like, well, they're gay. They're not going to fuck with me. Bitches fuck their gay friends all the time. Say what you want. Lie your fucking ass off. Women, I have known so many women that fuck their gay friends. Don't come for me, okay? But I know they do. And they'll be like, oh, well, it's like not a big deal because he's gay. It's like not gonna go anywhere. It was like we both needed sex and we were drunk and it just happened. So shut the fuck up. There's no such thing. Okay. I don't even think I would grind on my woman best friends. That's just not, that's not my personality to begin with. That's not like something I do. I don't even dance out at the bars because my dancing is like, which I did do. I used to dance. I used to do competition dancing, so I got moves, you guys. I got making some moves, but you'll probably never see them. I'm good though. I can break it down for you. I can break it down for a shot. You know what I mean? I can break it down. But yeah, you'll probably never see it because I'm not that girl unless it's in a professional setting. Unless it's in an appropriate setting. Maybe one day I'll do a reel of me dancing and you guys can tell me how fucking bad I am. I probably am bad. It was one of those things. All right, you guys. So there was a story that I read on one of my previous videos, and this guy brought this homeless man to a party and had him dress up as a stormtrooper. Well, there is 2 updates. So let's fucking party, okay? A couple of years ago, I invited a homeless man to a house party. No idea why I did what I did, but since I had a decent amount of drugs in my system, I was like, the drugs made me do it. Because it was a house party where people were encouraged to wear costumes, I convinced the homeless man to wear a stormtrooper costume so that no one could see his face. I dressed up as Jesus. Fast forward to the homeless stormtrooper bumping and grinding with a random girl at the house party. The girl was under the impression that she was grinding on her boyfriend, who happened to be dressed up as a stormtrooper too. I didn't see what happened, but based on eyewitnesses' testimonies, the homeless stormtrooper fled the scene. I never thought I would see the homeless man or my stormtrooper costume again. But I did. Yesterday, years later, I was walking in the park, as one does, with a girl. We were on our second date. Things were going well until a fucking clone of Tom Hanks in Castaway appeared out of nowhere and surprised us. I didn't know who the guy was or what he wanted until he pointed at himself and repeatedly said, Star Wars, enough times for me to finally be like, no fucking way. It's the homeless stormtrooper. As soon as the homeless stormtrooper noticed my confusion turned into realization, he unexpectedly closed the gap between us and gave me a bro hug, like we were buddies. It was awkward, but I allowed it because I kind of felt guilty for how things turned out the last time he saw me. I introduced my date to the homeless stormtrooper and explained to her how we knew each other. The homeless stormtrooper encouraged us to follow him to his tent so we could see that he still had the stormtrooper costume. I pointed out the time and explained to the homeless stormtrooper that we were on our way to see the new Fantastic Four movie and didn't want to be late. I love that he's calling him the homeless stormtrooper. My date responded and said we still had loads of time before the movie began, which prompted the homeless stormtrooper to lead us to his tent. The homeless stormtrooper entered his tent alone and came out like 3 minutes later, wearing the stormtrooper costume. My date was really impressed. I did my best to match her energy, but all I could think about was not missing the movie. The homeless stormtrooper disappeared into the tent again before reappearing with a skateboard and doing tricks for us. My date, who seemed to have forgotten we were supposed to be bonding and shit, took her phone out and proceeded to film the homeless trooper for her TikTok or whatever. Meanwhile, another person emerged from the tent. I kid you not. The person literally looked identical to the homeless stormtrooper. I didn't ask, but I figured they were twins. The homeless twin approached me and offered to sell me condoms. The guy lifted his shirt and revealed a fucking belt made of condoms strapped to his waist. I said, no thank you, but he refused to take no for an answer, saying that he could tell what size condom I used just by shaking my hand, which made no fucking sense to me. My date overheard this shit and encouraged me to shake hands with the homeless twin. To please my date, I played along and shook the dude's hand. Needless to say, it was no ordinary handshake. The homeless twin didn't let go of my hand for at least 30 seconds before pointing out one of the condoms on his belt and saying, regular? Damn, dissed you. My date asked me if that was accurate. I was like, what are the odds of me being average like most people on Earth? My sarcasm didn't land, and I ended up paying the homeless twin for his overpriced and expired condoms just to make him leave me alone. I was just about to inform my date that it was time for us to go, but then the homeless stormtrooper fell off his skateboard. After helping him get back on his feet and making sure he was 100% okay, I gave him some money and said goodbye. We were late for the movie, which I already paid for, so I had to book another time slot and pay again for both me and my date. In other words, I paid twice the price, twice, for an IMAX show in 3D, which is not cheap. On top of that, I had to pay a condom whisperer for prehistoric condoms and a skateboarder cosplay for existing, I guess. Weirdest and most expensive second date of my life so far. Oh my god, I love this. I seriously I love this. I would have been like, I mean, this would make you fall in love if she's a cool girl. I'd be like, this is the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life. Anyways, commenter, girlfriend, don't be silly. We have plenty of time for the movie. OP, if you're listening, you're gonna be able to see this, but it's a picture, it's a gif of Stewie looking really slowly over at Brian from Family Guy. Commenter, I got to where she said she seemed to forget we were supposed to be bonding. My dude, that was what was happening way more than a movie ever could offer. Yes. Yes, you can't bond in a movie. There's no effing way. You can't. You can't. And honestly, for me, you guys, unless we're seeing the movie in the morning or the early afternoon, I'm going to fall asleep. I don't care if it's in the theaters. My ass is falling asleep. And I don't know if this is because I am excessively tired these days due to be doing too much. Or this is the way the cookie crumbles. Because even in my home, I'm not even kidding you guys. This is how ridiculous this shit is. We'll be watching a movie and I'll have to get up and stand behind the couch or like do fucking squats to stay awake to finish a movie. It's ridiculous. Although I did just quit my job for another job. And don't worry, I'm not rich, you guys. This YouTube pays me pennies. I don't even make minimum wage. People probably see my numbers. She's like, she's rich. Bitch, no. This is not even a minimum wage, federal minimum wage job. Anyways, let's go to the second update, you guys. Update 2. Dos. I returned to the homeless twins with the same girl I was on a date with the last time I crossed paths with twins. I didn't come empty handed. I actually brought the homeless stormtrooper a new skateboard since he seemed to enjoy skateboarding. For the condom whisperer, I got condoms, ones that were not expired, because he was selling me condoms that practically predated the internet. I must admit, I could have behaved better during my previous interaction with the homeless twins. I gave them some money last time, considering the entertainment value they added to an otherwise ordinary date. I made the decision to purposely include the twins in my third date, not necessarily for me to get more entertainment out of the experience, but mostly to show them some love. My date, who was super keen to involve twins in our third date, made both of us bring enough pizza for the skateboarding stormtrooper and the condom whisperer to share between themselves and others. When we approached the tent belonging to the twins, we noticed one of the twins, aka the condom whisperer, playing with a stray cat. Picture the following: the condom whisperer sitting on an upside down bucket with a condom attached to a fishing rod, which he playfully used to attract the cat. As soon as he saw us approaching, he turned toward the tent and said something I was unable to hear because I was too far away, but I assumed he was telling the person inside the tent that we were coming. When we finally got close enough, the condom whisperer stood up and started waving. We waved back and shared everything we brought with us. The condom whisperer gracefully accepted the pizza. However, what really made him smile was not the boxes of pizza, but the boxes of condoms I gave him. Not gonna lie, I thought it would be kind of funny giving someone an absurd amount of condoms, but when I saw the condom whisperer's reaction, it was unexpectedly wholesome. I eventually showed the condom whisperer the skateboard, which prompted him to summon the person inside the tent to come out. The stormtrooper emerged moments later, dressed in the stormtrooper costume, as if that was his look literally all the time. He hugged me and said thank you after accepting the skateboard, which was enough for me. But my date wanted to see his face, so she asked if he was willing to remove the stormtrooper helmet. In fact, she was like, bro, if you're wearing the stormtrooper costume just for us, like, totally cool, but please feel free to wear whatever you want. Shortly after the stormtrooper removed his helmet, the condom whisperer randomly waved his fishing rod in the stormtrooper's face, prompting the stray cat to suddenly leap onto the stormtrooper's shoulders, leaving the stormtrooper momentarily frozen in fear, but on the verge of freaking the fuck out. Even though the cat was not a threat, the condom whisperer burst out laughing with a mouthful of pizza, like he had accomplished his mission. I was forced to physically intervene by grabbing a hold of the skateboard in the stormtrooper's hand and stopping him from trying to whack the cat with a weapon, while my date attempted to reach out and carefully grab the cat. But despite my date trying her best, the cat dodged her looming arms and leaped off of the stormtrooper's shoulders. Gone. I let go of the stormtrooper skateboard, thinking that peace had been restored. But then the stormtrooper, who now seemed pissed off, attempted to attack his twin with the skateboard, yet again forcing me to grab a hold of the skateboard and stop the stormtrooper from using it as a weapon. It became clear to us in the heat of the moment that the condom whisperer was no longer laughing because most of the heat was coming from his mouth. None of us paid attention to the pizza he was eating until we noticed the sweat on his face, the watery eyes, the runny nose, and not to mention the heavy breathing. The dude not only ate the spiciest pizza first, but he managed to shove a whole pizza slice covered in jalapenos into his mouth. The stormtrooper was dying of laughing when he saw his twin suffering. My date encouraged the condom whisperer to drink the water we included with the food before she looked at me like, "Say you're sorry." I said I was sorry for the spicy pizza because that was the one pizza I picked. For the record, I was planning to warn them before eating, but I got distracted by the chaos that erupted. My date and I eventually left after enough time passed for us to feel confident that the twins were not going to kill each other. Why would you get them as a treat? Like, you bought this on purpose and you gave them a spicy pizza. Why would you do that? A lot of people don't like spice. They really don't. And clearly, they're not the brightest bunch with the spice. I mean, this girl sounds awesome. So maybe you found a winner. And thank you for updating us. Even if you did not hear that story in my other video, kind of got the whole synopsis, from that little paragraph in the very beginning. Commenter, I appreciate this update so much, and this girl seems like a keeper. This was pure chaos, and I know there was speaking, but I pictured it black and white with the Benny Hill theme song. Commenter, excerpt from the story. I made the decision to purposely include the twin in my third date. Commenter, this is weird as fuck. Just date the twin at this point, man. Wow, this commenter sucks. Go to bed. God, what the fuck is wrong with people? Commenter, it would be weird if this was real. Commenter, it's not. I'm pretty sure. That's why I left the comment that I did. LOL. Honestly, fake or not, it's a good read. Shut the fuck up. And if it is real, I will say, this is a solid memory for you and her. You will remember this and think back on this for years and years if you stay together, okay? Everybody's got to shit on everybody. Oh, this is fake. This is fake. I'm so sick of it. Who cares if it is? Just read it and have a good time. Everything doesn't have to be so fucking serious all the time. Alright, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, like, subscribe, comment, whatever you want to do. It's all up to you. Don't forget. Don't freaking forget. I got a shitload of videos over on my Patreon. Go check it out. Link is in the description. See you later. See you later.